Kayla gripped the controls of her flagship, her knuckles white with tension. The Andara system's outer rim had never seen such chaos. Alien ships, black and sleek with glowing red engines, swarmed like a storm of fire. The Vorath were relentless, each strike more precise than the last. Kayla's fleet had held its ground for hours, but her ships were damaged, shields flickering under constant bombardment. Every passing second brought the threat closer to annihilation. Her communications officer shouted updates she barely registered. The Vorath were cutting off escape routes, targeting human supply stations and civilian colonies with frightening efficiency. Kayla's jaw tightened. She had been a warrior for many years, known across human colonies for her courage and skill. But even she felt the weight of fear pressing against her chest. Losing this battle would mean more than defeat. It could mean the end of human presence in this sector. Suddenly, her sensors picked up an unfamiliar signature. A single starship, small but fast, was approaching at a speed that defied conventional calculations.
Kayla's curiosity mixed with skepticism.
Who would dare enter a battle like this alone? She activated her communications. "This is Captain Kayla of the Andara Defense Fleet. Identify yourself," she commanded. The response was calm, almost serene. "I am Lyra. I offer help. Follow my lead." There was no arrogance in the voice, only quiet confidence. Kayla frowned. She had learned not to trust strangers in battle, especially those who appeared out of nowhere. Still, the situation left her little choice. Her fleet could not hold much longer without reinforcements. "Very well," Kayla replied cautiously. "Show me what you can do." Lyra's ship moved with grace and precision, weaving through the Vorath lines as if it anticipated their every move. Kayla watched in awe as energy pulses from her weapons disabled several Vorath ships in mere moments. Her crew gasped. This was no ordinary engineer. They were witnessing someone who could almost predict the enemy's actions. Lyra's voice came through again, steady and calm. "Target their lead formation. Focus your fire on the largest vessels first. I will guide you." Kayla hesitated only for a second before trusting the instructions. She issued orders, and her ships responded. Miraculously, under Lyra's guidance, their attacks became more effective. Shields held longer, missiles found their marks, and the Vorath faltered. Kayla felt a surge of hope she hadn't allowed herself to feel in hours. As the battle continued, Kayla noticed something unusual. Lyra's ship did not just follow patterns of attack, it seemed to understand the very mind of the Vorath. It avoided traps, countered unexpected maneuvers, and even repaired minor system damage mid-flight. The young engineer was doing more than offering help. She was orchestrating a performance of precision that Kayla had never seen in any human or alien fleet. By the time the last Vorath ship retreated, Kayla's fleet was battered but still standing. Human lives were saved, and colonies would have more time to prepare defenses. Kayla exhaled, the first relaxed breath she had taken in hours. She turned to her sensors, trying to locate the mysterious savior. The small starship had already landed nearby, calm and unassuming as if nothing had happened. Kayla's curiosity got the better of her. She left her bridge and walked down to the docking bay. Her crew watched with a mix of awe and suspicion as she approached the lone ship. The hatch opened with a quiet hiss and a figure stepped out. Lyra was smaller than Kayla expected, with bright eyes that seemed to reflect starlight. She carried no visible weapons, yet her presence radiated strength and intelligence. "I hope my help was sufficient," Lyra said with a faint smile. "It is dangerous here, but you were courageous." Kayla studied her carefully. "Who are you, really? How do you know so much about the Vorath? You seem more than human." Lyra's smile remained enigmatic. "I am an engineer. That is all you need to know for now. There are forces at work in the galaxy that few understand. Today we prevented a disaster, but there will be more challenges ahead." Kayla felt a shiver run down her spine. There was a calmness in Lyra's words, a certainty that was almost unsettling. She wanted to ask more, but something told her that answers would come at the right time. For now, she needed to focus on her fleet, her crew, and the fragile hope Lyra had brought. As Kayla returned to the bridge, she glanced back at the small figure of Lyra standing in the docking bay. The stars reflected in her eyes, and Kayla couldn't shake the feeling that this engineer was not merely a helper. She was a catalyst, someone who could change the course of the galaxy itself. The thought both excited and worried her. Kayla knew one thing for certain: the war was far from over. And with Lyra by her side, the future held possibilities that no human had ever imagined. Kayla sat in the command chair, her eyes scanning the star field beyond the bridge. The fleet had survived the initial Vorath attack, but repairs were urgent. She could feel the tension in the air. Her crew was exhausted, yet their spirits lifted by the unexpected help. Lyra, the mysterious engineer, moved quietly among them, inspecting systems and offering suggestions. Every recommendation she made seemed flawless, every adjustment precise. The crew whispered among themselves. Some were in awe, others suspicious. Kayla understood their caution. Lyra had appeared out of nowhere, her technology far beyond human standards, and she showed no intention of explaining herself fully. Yet every calculation she made, every design she suggested, saved lives. Kayla knew that doubt was a luxury they could not afford. Lyra approached Kayla, her expression calm but focused. Your fleet's shields are under stress. I can improve their energy distribution and increase efficiency by 30%. Kayla raised an eyebrow. 30%? That's incredible. Can you do it in time before the Vorath regroup? Lyra's eyes sparkled with quiet certainty. It will take some time, but yes. If you trust me, Kayla hesitated. Trust did not come easily to her. Yet the memory of the battle, the way Lyra had anticipated the Vorath's moves, pushed her hesitation aside. Do it, but stay close to the bridge. If anything goes wrong, I need you ready. Lyra nodded and turned to her tools. Small drones followed her, carrying components that seemed almost alien in design. Kayla watched as circuits were rewired, energy conduits redirected, and shield cores optimized. The process was mesmerizing. Within hours, the fleet's defenses were stronger, faster, and more resilient than before. Crew members could barely contain their excitement. Some clapped quietly, others just stared in disbelief. Kayla allowed herself a small, proud smile. Despite the calm on the surface, Kayla could feel unease simmering beneath. She wanted answers about Lyra's past. Where had she learned these technologies? How did she know so much about the Vorath, an enemy humans had only begun to understand? During a break, Kayla found Lyra alone near the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass, a silent reminder of the vast galaxy they fought to protect. You're hiding something, Kayla said, her tone firm but not hostile. I need to understand who you are. Not just what you can do. Lyra's gaze did not waver. I am not hiding from you, Kayla. My past, it is complicated. There are truths that could change your view of the galaxy, truths that must be revealed carefully. For now, know that I want to help humanity survive. Kayla crossed her arms. You expect me to trust someone whose past is a mystery? We fight for survival, Lyra. Trust is earned in fire and battle, not in words. Lyra tilted her head slightly, almost smiling. Then allow my actions to earn your trust. Observe, learn, and decide. I will not force belief. Kayla wanted to argue, but she sensed the wisdom in Lyra's words. The galaxy had always been full of mysteries, and some truths were better revealed slowly. For now, actions mattered more than explanations. Their moment was interrupted by an alarm. Sensors detected a cluster of Vorath scouts approaching a nearby human colony. The fleet was still recovering, but retreat was not an option. Lives were at stake. Kayla moved to the command console, issuing orders to the fleet. Prepare defensive formations. Lyra, I need your input. How can we hold them off without exposing ourselves? Lyra quickly scanned the tactical displays. Her fingers danced across holographic controls, highlighting weak points in the approaching enemy formation. They are relying on speed and confusion. If you set up decoys and channel them through the gravitational fields of the nearby asteroid belt, you can neutralize half their fleet before they reach the colony. Kayla's eyes widened. That's risky, but brilliant. Let's do it. Within minutes, the fleet moved into position. Lyra's strategy worked like clockwork. Vorath ships collided with asteroids or became trapped in gravitational pull, unable to maneuver. Human ships picked them off systematically. The colony remained safe and the Vorath were forced to retreat once again. As the adrenaline faded, Kayla realized something important. Lyra's presence was more than help, it was a lesson. Humanity's strength was not just in courage or numbers, but in ingenuity, in the ability to adapt and use knowledge in ways the enemy could not predict. Kayla felt a spark of hope she hadn't allowed herself in years. That night, Kayla stood on the observation deck, watching Lyra repair a small drone under the soft light of distant stars. She wondered who Lyra really was, but for the first time she felt that the swear might not matter immediately. What mattered was the alliance. the shared goal and the promise that humanity could survive even the most impossible odds with the right minds beside them. Kayla took a deep breath. She did not know the engineer's full story, but she sensed that Lyra's arrival was not a coincidence. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable. Yet for the first time, Kayla felt that perhaps humanity was not alone in its struggle, and that a new chapter was beginning, one that could change everything. The next day, Kayla walked through the corridors of her flagship, her mind still buzzing from the previous battles. The fleet had survived, but barely. Repairs were ongoing, and tension hung like a cloud over every crew member. Yet amidst the fatigue, Lyra moved with calm efficiency, examining systems, recalibrating engines, and making subtle improvements that no one else could even understand. Kayla watched her from a distance, curious and cautious. Lyra's knowledge of technology and alien tactics seemed limitless. It was not just skill, it was intuition, an ability to predict outcomes before they happened. Kayla had faced many enemies in her life, but this mysterious engineer was unlike anyone she had ever met. "Captain Kayla," Lyra said, her voice calm as ever. "I have analyzed the Vorath communications. They are planning a strike on a colony near the Helios Rift. If we move quickly, we can intercept them." Kayla nodded, feeling the familiar rush of responsibility. "How long before we can reach them?" Lyra's fingers danced across the console. 3 hours at maximum speed. "Their patrols are light. We have a chance to strike first and save the colony." Kayla turned to her officers, issuing orders. "Prepare the fleet. Weapons ready. Shields at maximum and keep formation tight. We are going to Helios Rift." As they moved through space, Kayla noticed the crew's morale lifting. Seeing the engineer in action, devising strategies and improving their ships inspired confidence. Yet a small seed of doubt remained in Kayla's mind. Who was Lyra really? How did she know so much about their enemy? When they reached the colony, the Vorath were already in sight. Sleek ships hovered around the planet, scanning for weak points. Kayla tightened her grip on the console, scanning the battlefield for opportunities. Lyra's calm voice broke through her focus. "Divide your fleet," Lyra instructed. "Use decoy formations near the moons. The Vorath will underestimate the gravity fields and we can trap them in a crossfire." Kayla hesitated. "It's risky. If they detect our maneuver, we could lose half our fleet." Lyra's eyes were steady, unwavering. "Risk is part of survival. Trust your crew. Trust yourself." "Trust me." Kayla gave a curt nod. Orders were issued. Ships moved with precision, following the plan. As the Vorath pursued the decoys, they became trapped in the asteroid fields and gravity wells. Human ships struck with calculated precision, disabling engines and forcing the alien vessels to retreat. Amid the battle, Kayla noticed something disturbing. One Vorath commander seemed to anticipate Lyra's maneuvers, almost as if he recognized her strategies. It was brief, a flicker of understanding in the enemy's movements, but enough to make Kayla's heart race. Could the Vorath know more about Lyra than she was letting on? Despite the suspicion, the plan succeeded. The colony was safe and the Vorath retreated in defeat. Kayla allowed herself a moment to breathe, proud of her crew and their new ally. Yet the flicker of doubt stayed in her mind. After the battle, Kayla found Lyra inspecting a damaged fighter. "How do you know so much about them?" she asked quietly, keeping her voice low. Lyra looked up, her expression thoughtful. "I have studied many civilizations, Kayla, some long gone. Knowledge is the key to survival. If you know your enemy, you can outthink them." Kayla frowned. "That's not enough. You seem connected to them somehow. There's more than study in your actions." Lyra's gaze softened, almost wistful. "Perhaps. But the past is not always simple. What matters now is the present. You and your people are strong. I will help you survive, and together we can shape the future." Kayla studied her, sensing honesty in the words but knowing there were still secrets. She decided to focus on what mattered, her fleet, her crew, and the lives depending on her decisions. The truth about Lyra could wait until the war was won. That night, Kayla stood on the observation deck watching the stars streak past. Lyra was nearby, quietly repairing a communications array. The galaxy felt both vast and dangerous, full of enemies and mysteries beyond comprehension. Yet for the first time, Kayla felt a spark of hope. With Lyra's guidance, humanity had a chance not only to survive but to fight back with ingenuity and courage. As Kayla turned away from the window, she realized that the true strength of humanity was not just in weapons or numbers. It was in courage, intelligence, and the ability to trust even when answers were unclear. And in Lyra, she saw a reflection of that potential. Someone who could change the course of the war, perhaps even the fate of the galaxy itself. Kayla knew the battles ahead would be harder, the Vorath smarter and the stakes higher. But with Lyra by her side, she felt ready to face whatever came next. She would learn, adapt, and fight, not just as a warrior but as a protector of all human lives. For the first time in many years, Kayla allowed herself to imagine victory, not just survival. And with that vision, she felt the galaxy shift just slightly toward hope. Days passed in a tense rhythm. Kayla's fleet moved cautiously through the Andara system, repairing, resupplying, and preparing for the inevitable return of the Vorath. Yet the calm moments were few and far between. Kayla found herself observing Lyra more closely now, noticing subtle details that hinted at a past far more extraordinary than any ordinary engineer could have. One afternoon, Kayla approached Lyra as she worked in the engineering bay. Tools floated gently around her in zero gravity, drones assisting in intricate repairs that seemed almost impossible. The air hummed with quiet energy, a faint glow reflecting off the panels and circuits. "You've done so much for this fleet," Kayla said, trying to sound casual, though curiosity drove her words. "Where did you learn all of this?" "This technology, it isn't from anywhere humans have developed." Lyra paused, her hands stilling for a moment. Her eyes held a distant look as if recalling memories long buried. "Long ago, my people built devices and ships far beyond anything humans have ever imagined," she said softly. "I learned from them. I carry their knowledge." Kayla frowned, her mind racing. "Your people? What do you mean? Are you saying you're not human?" Lyra shook her head gently. "I am human, Kayla, but I come from a line of engineers and explorers whose civilization disappeared centuries ago. Our technology survived, and I have devoted my life to preserving it and using it to help those who can protect life in this galaxy." Kayla's heart raced. She had expected a brilliant engineer, someone skilled and clever, but she had not anticipated this. A civilization lost to time, knowledge that predated anything in the human colonies. It was more than impressive, it was almost unimaginable. Lyra continued, her voice calm but firm. "My people foresaw that the galaxy would face threats like the Vorath. They left instructions, designs, and tools for the future, so that those who could rise to the challenge would be ready. I am the link between what was and what must be done now." Kayla took a deep breath. The weight of Lyra's revelation pressed against her, but she also felt a strange sense of relief. This explained so much: the way Lyra anticipated the Vorath's movements, her intuition in battle, her ability to enhance ships in ways no human engineer could. She had underestimated Lyra before, but now she saw the truth. This was not just a helper, a stranger in the fleet. She was a living bridge to a past that held power, knowledge, and responsibility. The tension of this revelation lingered in Kayla's mind as she returned to the bridge. The fleet was now traveling near the Helios Rift, a treacherous region of space filled with asteroids and gravitational anomalies. Sensors began to detect movement, Vorath patrols scouting the area. The threat was growing, and Kayla knew that every second of preparation could make the difference between life and death. Lyra moved alongside Kayla on the bridge, scanning the readouts and making quiet suggestions. "Use the asteroid fields as cover," she said. "Their sensors will misread your location. We can use this to our advantage for an ambush." Kayla nodded, her trust in Lyra's instincts now stronger than ever. "Prepare the fleet. We engage only if we are ready. I don't want unnecessary losses." The battle that followed was fierce, but with Lyra's guidance, Kayla's fleet was precise and calculated. Vorath ships were forced into disadvantageous positions, caught in gravitational traps or misled by decoy signals. Human fighters swooped through gaps in asteroid fields, striking with unmatched timing. The Vorath were clever, but they could not anticipate the combined skill of Kayla's leadership and Lyra's knowledge. After the battle, Kayla found herself alone with Lyra again, watching the stars reflected in the dark glass of the observation deck. "You've changed everything," Kayla said quietly. "Not just for this fleet, but for humanity. With what you know, we could survive, maybe even thrive in ways we never imagined." Lyra's expression was gentle, almost wistful. "Knowledge is only useful if it is shared. Humans have courage, creativity, and determination. That is why I help." The galaxy is vast and threats will continue, but with preparation and ingenuity your people can endure. That is the lesson my civilization tried to pass on. Kayla nodded slowly. The burden of responsibility felt heavier now, but also lighter, knowing she was not alone. The knowledge Lyra carried was powerful, but it was Kayla's courage and her fleet's determination that would turn that power into survival. As the stars stretched endlessly beyond them, Kayla felt the first true sense of hope she had known in years. The Vorath were not invincible, and the galaxy was not beyond reach. With allies like Lyra and the ingenuity of her people, she realized that humanity's story was just beginning, and that story could be far greater than anyone had dared to imagine. The quiet hum of the flagship and the soft glow of distant stars reminded Kayla that every moment of preparation, every life saved, every strategic decision mattered. The galaxy was still dangerous, but now she felt ready to face it. And somewhere deep inside, she knew that Lyra's secrets were only the beginning of discoveries that could reshape everything they knew about the universe. The fleet had been on high alert for days, moving cautiously through the dense asteroid fields near the Helios Rift. Kayla could feel the tension among her crew. The Vorath had retreated for now, but everyone knew it was only a matter of time before they struck again. Supplies were low, shields were patched but still vulnerable, and the crew's exhaustion showed on every face. Yet amidst this, Lyra moved with serene focus, inspecting systems, recalibrating engines, and quietly preparing for the battles that were sure to come. Kayla found herself watching the engineer more closely than ever. Every decision Lyra made, every adjustment to the fleet systems was precise and effective. But rumors among the crew were growing. Whispers about Lyra's origins, her abilities, and her mysterious knowledge circulated quietly, sometimes carried through the corridors like a faint breeze. Some were in awe, some suspicious, and a few openly questioned her loyalty. During a briefing, one of Kayla's officers hesitated. "Captain, we should be cautious. Lyra's actions are helpful, yes, but her technology, it isn't ours. Can we trust her completely? What if she has her own agenda?" Kayla held up a hand, stopping the room. She looked at Lyra, who stood calmly at the edge of the bridge, quietly observing. "Lyra has saved lives today and yesterday," Kayla said firmly. "Her knowledge has given us an edge we couldn't have achieved alone. Doubt is natural, but I will not let fear cloud judgment. We judge her by what she does, not what we assume." Despite Kayla's words, she knew the seed of doubt had been planted. Trust was fragile in times of war, and secrets, even noble ones, could be dangerous if misunderstood. That night, as Kayla walked the observation deck alone, Lyra joined her quietly. Stars reflected in her eyes, calm and unshakable. "The crew is talking," Kayla admitted, her voice low. "Some are afraid of you. They don't understand you, and fear is spreading." Lyra nodded slowly. "Fear is natural, Kayla. It is part of survival. But courage and action are stronger. I do not need them to understand me completely, only to follow the path that keeps them safe." Kayla sighed. "You make it seem so simple, but it isn't. I don't know if people can accept someone so different even if she saves their lives." Lyra's voice was quiet, almost a whisper. "The galaxy has always been full of mysteries. Humans have faced threats greater than understanding, yet you survive. Trust comes with time, and actions speak louder than words. Let your leadership guide them. I will do my part." The next morning, Vorath scouts reappeared. They were probing the fleet, testing defenses, and searching for weak points. Kayla's heart pounded as the sensors lit up with enemy positions. There was no hesitation this time. The fleet had learned from previous attacks, and Lyra's strategies had strengthened their response. "Form the defensive grid," Kayla ordered. "Deploy fighters to intercept and hold them at range." Lyra guided the maneuvering patterns. Lyra's calculations were fast and precise. Use the energy nodes in the asteroid belts to amplify shield output. Channel power through alternating lines to create a feedback barrier. They will be forced to divide their forces. Kayla's eyes widened. "That's risky, but it could work." All ships follow her lead. The battle unfolded like a deadly dance. Vorath ships were clever, anticipating some maneuvers, but Lyra's foresight kept them one step ahead. Energy pulses, shield amplifications, and tactical positioning created confusion among the enemy ranks. The human fleet struck with precision, disabling several Vorath vessels and forcing the rest to retreat. Afterward, the fleet cheered, but the murmurs continued. Some officers wondered if Lyra's skills were simply too advanced to trust fully. Kayla, however, felt a deep sense of respect and relief. Lyra's strategies had saved countless lives yet again. Later, Kayla found Lyra in the engineering bay, tending to the fleet's systems. "You've done it again," Kayla said quietly. "I don't think anyone else could have pulled this off." Lyra shook her head. "It is not just me, Kayla, it is all of you. Courage, teamwork, and determination. They amplify the tools I provide. You have the power to shape the future even without me." Kayla studied her, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down. "The Vorath will return stronger next time. But with you, maybe we stand a chance. Maybe humanity can survive this." Lyra's expression was serene. "Not just survive. Humans can endure, adapt, and thrive. Knowledge is only one part. Courage, hope, and unity are the others. Together they are unstoppable." Kayla nodded. She knew the coming battles would test them all in ways they could not yet imagine. But one thing was clear. Lyra's presence had changed the course of their fight. She was not merely an engineer. She was a force that inspired confidence, courage, and hope. And in the galaxy's darkest hours, hope was a weapon as strong as any shield or weapon system. For the first time in many cycles, Kayla felt that humanity's future was not just uncertain, it was bright. And with Lyra's knowledge, their ingenuity, and their courage combined, the galaxy itself might one day recognize humanity not as weak survivors, but as a power to be reckoned with. The fleet had barely recovered from the last skirmish when the alarm sounded. Sensors detected a massive Vorath armada advancing through the Helios rift, larger and faster than anything Kayla had faced before. Her hands tightened on the console as she assessed the situation. Every choice mattered. Every delay could cost lives. Lyra appeared beside her, calm and focused. "This is not just a patrol," she said quietly. "They have a flagship commanding the fleet. If we engage without a plan, we will lose everything." Kayla felt the familiar mix of tension and determination. "Then tell me your plan. I need every advantage we can get." Lyra paused, her gaze distant for a moment as if recalling memories beyond the present. "There is a way," she said softly, "but you must trust me completely. I need you to follow my lead without question." Kayla nodded, her jaw set. "You have my trust. All of it." The battle began with the Vorath closing in, their engines glowing red against the black of space. Kayla's fleet took defensive positions, but Lyra's instructions went beyond mere tactics. She directed energy pulses, shield modulations, and firing sequences that seemed almost impossible. Kayla watched in awe as the fleet moved in harmony, guided by Lyra's knowledge. Then as the flagship of the Vorath approached, Kayla noticed something that made her heart skip. The alien commander reacted to Lyra's maneuvers with precision that seemed familiar. The way it countered her strategies suggested more than skill. It hinted at recognition. Kayla turned to Lyra, her voice tense. "Do they know you?" Lyra's eyes were calm, but her expression held weight. "They do. They know me because they knew my ancestors. The civilization I come from once ruled systems that the Vorath now seek to dominate. My people's knowledge has been their target for centuries." Kayla felt the shock ripple through her. Your people? You mean your civilization is alive in some way?" Lyra shook her head. "No, my civilization was destroyed long ago. I am the last of the Althara. The Vorath are aware of our history and seek any remnants of our technology. That is why they are so dangerous. They know what they are facing." Kayla's mind raced. The engineer who had saved them so many times, who had guided the fleet with unmatched precision, was not just a human ally. She was the last link to an ancient power, a living bridge between the past and the present. Lyra's gaze returned to the battlefield. "We must strike at the flagship. If it falls, the rest will scatter. But the attack must be precise. I will guide you, Kayla, step by step." Kayla swallowed, her resolve hardening. "Lead the way. We will follow." The plan unfolded with meticulous precision. Lyra's instructions took advantage of gravitational fields, energy currents, and hidden asteroid paths. Kayla's fleet moved like a single organism, striking in unison, guided by Lyra's knowledge. The Vorath flagship tried to counter, but it was too late. The ancient tactics, combined with Kayla's courage and the fleet's determination, overwhelmed it. As the flagship's engines failed and it drifted powerless, the remaining Vorath ships began to retreat. Cheers erupted across the human fleet, but Kayla barely noticed. Her attention was fixed on Lyra, whose calm eyes reflected both relief and something deeper, a burden finally shared. Once the battle ended, Kayla approached Lyra in the docking bay. The silence between them was filled with unspoken understanding. "I had no idea," Kayla said softly. "You've been carrying this alone?" Lyra nodded. "For centuries, humanity has been unaware of the galaxy's past. I have guided where I could, but now the time has come for humans to face their own challenges with all the knowledge available. You have courage, Kayla. That is what will decide the future." Kayla felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. Lyra's revelation had changed everything, not just for her but for all of humanity. The galaxy would never be the same. The knowledge of the Althera, combined with human ingenuity and determination, could reshape the balance of power. Together, Kayla said firmly, we can ensure humanity survives and thrives, not just in this battle but in all the challenges to come. Lyra smiled, a rare, gentle expression. "Yes, Kayla. Together we can build a future worthy of the stars. Your people have potential far beyond what you realize. This is only the beginning." As Kayla looked out at the stars, the vast galaxy stretched before her, full of dangers, mysteries, and possibilities. With Lyra's guidance, humanity had not only survived but had taken a step toward greatness. The Vorath had been defeated today, but the galaxy held countless challenges yet to come. Kayla knew they were ready. The presence of Lyra, the last of the Althera, had changed everything. She was more than an engineer. She was a living legacy, a reminder that knowledge, courage, and unity could shape the destiny of entire civilizations. And with that truth guiding them, Kayla and humanity would face the stars with hope, ingenuity, and unwavering strength. The aftermath of the battle left the fleet battered but victorious. Kayla walked along the deck, watching her crew work tirelessly to repair damaged ships and tend to the injured. The sense of relief was palpable, yet beneath it lay the quiet hum of anticipation. The Vorath might retreat for now, but Kayla knew they would return, stronger and more determined. Lyra moved beside her, calm and composed, yet there was a new light in her eyes. The weight she had carried for centuries, the knowledge of the Althara, the secrets of an ancient civilization, felt lighter now that it had been shared. Humanity had proven itself capable of understanding and using that knowledge, and Lyra could see the spark of potential growing in Kayla and her people. Kayla turned to her. "We've survived, but this war is far from over. How do we prepare for what comes next?" Lyra smiled faintly. "Preparation begins with knowledge, courage, and unity. Humans have already shown they can adapt, innovate, and fight when it matters most. The galaxy will test you, Kayla, but you have proven that your people are capable of more than they realize." Kayla nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and responsibility. She knew that Lyra's guidance had been invaluable, but it was humanity's bravery, resilience, and teamwork that had truly turned the tide. With the Vorath temporarily defeated, Kayla allowed herself a moment to imagine what was possible. A future where humans were not just survivors, but pioneers, shaping their own destiny among the stars. The fleet began to move again, this time with a renewed sense of purpose. Lyra helped coordinate repairs, enhancements, and new defensive strategies, ensuring that the ships were not only ready for future battles, but stronger than ever before. Her advanced knowledge, combined with human ingenuity, created a force unmatched in the sector. As the days passed, Kayla observed her crew's morale grow. They had witnessed firsthand that courage, cleverness, and cooperation could overcome seemingly impossible odds. Every repair, every training exercise, every calculated maneuver became a testament to humanity's potential. And Lyra, once a mysterious figure, was now seen as a mentor, a guide, and a symbol of hope. During a quiet moment on the observation deck, Kayla and Lyra stood side by side, watching distant stars flicker in the void. "Do you ever regret revealing yourself?" Kayla asked. "The crew, the galaxy, everything changes now that they know who you are." Lyra shook her head. "Regret would mean I failed my purpose. My people left knowledge for those who could use it wisely. Humanity has shown it can. You and your people are ready to shape the future. That is all I hoped for." Kayla smiled. "Then we will honor that trust. We will not waste it." In the following weeks, Kayla's fleet ventured deeper into the Andorra system and beyond, helping isolated colonies, rebuilding defenses, and gathering intelligence on Vorath movements. Each mission was a test of skill, strategy, and courage, yet every success strengthened the belief that humans were capable of far more than anyone had imagined. Lyra's guidance remained constant, but Kayla and her crew learned to rely on their own instincts, creativity, and bravery. One evening, as the fleet navigated a field of glowing asteroids, Kayla reflected on how far they had come. From the chaos of their first encounter with the Vorath to the revelation of Lyra's true identity, humanity had been tested and had risen to every challenge. What had begun as a desperate struggle for survival had transformed into something greater, a story of ingenuity, courage, and hope. Lyra stood beside her once more, her eyes reflecting the countless stars. "The galaxy is vast," she said softly. "There will always be challenges. But humans now have a chance to thrive, to explore, and to grow beyond their limits. Remember, Kayla, it is not the strongest alone who shape history. It is the brave, the clever, and the united." Kayla nodded, her heart swelling with determination. She looked at her fleet, the crew who had fought, learned, and survived alongside her. She thought of Lyra, the last of the Althara, whose wisdom and courage had illuminated a path forward. Together, they had not only survived, they had triumphed. As the stars stretched endlessly before them, Kayla felt the galaxy shift in a way she had never imagined. Humanity was no longer a fragile presence in the cosmos. They were a force of hope, ingenuity, and resilience. And with Lyra by their side, they were ready to face whatever mysteries and dangers lay ahead. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, Kayla allowed herself to feel the weight of victory and the promise of a new dawn. Humanity had survived, humanity had grown, and humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of unknowns, but it was theirs to explore, defend, and shape. And in that moment, Kayla knew the story of humanity was only beginning, and it would be a story of brilliance, courage, and unshakable hope.